Oh, snap. What up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to another live stream. Obviously, hopefully, going to be a good one today. Don't mind the changes that we're seeing right now. I know the room looks weird, looks a little empty. Just give me the rest of the week. I have a bunch of stuff happening. Completely gutted out the entire office, redesigning everything. I got a whole wall of panels coming. Just trust the process, baby. But in the meantime, while I am working on getting this office redone, man, we got a hell of a market, guys. We got a hell of a market. We're seeing Bitcoin currently pushing $88,000 while the stock market does pull back, which is odd. Bitcoin outperforming the vast majority of the market with Bitcoin dominance up to 64.3 today. M2 money supply is absolutely running. Altcoins are starting to look pretty damn good, and it feels good, doesn't it? Now, am I going to go ahead and say we are completely back? Listen, I'm not going to go that far, but God damn it, we've had so many bad days that good days feel good, okay? So welcome in, everyone. I see you, D, Vikey, Vas, Pacino, Bimdito, Angelo, Jim. What's up, everyone? Happy to have you. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Feeling the vibes today. Had a hell of a start to the day. Hell of a start to the day. Got up, hit the gym, hit some cycling, walked the dogs, updated my finances, drank some water. No breakfast yet. No breakfast yet, but it's coming. But today we're gonna, man, fuck, I'm feeling good. Welcome in, everyone. Happy to see you. I feel like I haven't streamed in a while too, so happy to be back here. But look, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go over what's happening with Bitcoin, the breakout that just happened, what I'm expecting next, what I'm doing now, and all the 100x trades we're opening today. Okay, just kidding. I'm not doing that. But anyway, let's get into it, baby. I'm feeling good. Happy to have you all in here today. Sleepy Z, so BTC newbie, Christian, Jim, yo, Frank, what up? Welcome. All right, let's get into it. So, what's happening is absolutely so refreshing. So refreshing, guys. So, what's been happening over the last couple 4 months, right, has been crypto just getting absolutely brutalized to the downside, right? We were up here, we were in the HMZ, shout out to Mr. Nibbles, and then we just absolutely broke straight down through the HMZ and entered into a descending channel. Now, when we made this move here is when we recognized the descending channel. We kind of had an idea that it might be getting formed here, but we knew it was here in this little area. And what I told you all was in this moment, right? In this moment, I said, listen, this is going to be rough. The likelihood, the reality, this is going to be rough. We're going to be sitting here in a freaking descending parallel channel. And the reality is we're going to have several moments where the market just pulls back and pulls back and pulls back, forces it down, liquidates people, liquidates longs, liquidates shorts. I mean, everyone's going to get smashed over and over and over again. But there will likely become a day where we do break out of this descending channel. In the world of crypto, there is a 90% chance that a crypto asset breaks out of a descending parallel channel. What that means is 90% of the time when you're in one of these, eventually you'll break to the top side of it. You don't usually break down through one of these. It's very difficult for that to happen, right? And so what we did as we entered into this descending parallel channel was simple. I told you all this is the strategy. You buy on this 50% line right here. You buy in this green zone down here. And don't do much else. When you're at the 50% line right here, do some buying. Green zone, do some buying. When you hit this red zone, though, this is when you take profits, and that's what we did. We did some purchasing right here, some purchasing right here, here, and here. We took profits here. We missed this one, but we got some in here. We took profits here. We took profits here, and here. And what do you guys know? We were buying the bottoms, selling the tops. And we did it over and over and over and over again. And, well, here we are, baby. It freaking worked. Feels good. But I'm glad we're out of it, right? Because although we were locking in profits in a descending channel, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was sick of this shit. It was just getting annoying, just constantly falling. Every time we got one piece of good news, we dump. Good piece of news, dump. Good piece of news, dump. Shit was just irritating, right? And so now we're in a spot to where, although it's not fully confirmed yet, and the harsh reality is that we might fall back in it, we've at least given ourselves a chance. We've at least given ourselves a chance, and that feels good. So moving forward, what we can now do is we can just retire. We can retire the descending parallel strategy. We don't really need it anymore, okay? We don't really need it anymore. But we do still need the descending parallel channel. Because what you must understand is that we are still in the process of breaking out of the descending parallel channel. We're breaking out of it still. And so we can't get rid of the descending parallel channel, guys. I'm sorry. I know you want to, but we can't yet. And I'm going to show you why. So, as you all know, I have a bit of a thing for strategies, right? And I strategize basically everything that I do in the world of crypto. And I have a strategy called a 3-step parallel channel breakout strategy. I know that's so stupidly particular, but I'm systematic, guys. It's the reason I've survived for 7 years in the crypto market, is because I systematize everything. And the strategy that I implement when a crypto breaks out of a structure goes like this. So when we see a crypto break out of a structure, what we need to see are 3 key steps. They're very, very important. And the reason why they're so important is because they will do what's called reassignment of market structure. Or simply put, we've been in a downtrend. We need to confirm that we are no longer in a downtrend. A mistake that a lot of people make is that a crypto being a descending channel like this, it'll break out. Then everyone says, oh, we're back. We did it. We made it. And so they'll start going long. They'll open up these huge trades. When in the reality is that although, sure, we're out of this descending channel, if I just get rid of this, look, we are still down here. We're still falling and we're still in a downtrend. So we're out of the channel. We're still in a downtrend. And what we must do is change market structure. We need to get out of being in a descending trend or channel and switch into either consolidation or an uptrend. Because the reality is that if crypto just does this, well, although sure, yes, we're out of the descending channel, we're still very much so in a downtrend and not much has changed. The situation's different, but the structure's the same. So what we need to do now is we need to start changing the structure of where we are. How do we do that? There's 3 steps. I'm in a freaking good mood today. Had a bit of a rest day yesterday too for Easter. Happy Easter for those of you who celebrated. But I got some rest yesterday. Got some good sleep. Slept 8 hours last night, which I haven't done in 4 weeks. Feel good. Fucking excited. Anyway, so how do we do that? Again, it's 3 key steps. 3 key steps. Step number 1 is the breakout and the backtest. Okay, so what that means is that let's say we have a structure that looks like this, and we've been bouncing under it. What you need to do when you break out is not only do you need to get above the resistance, but you need to do what's called a backtest, which means you go back down to it and basically say, are you sure? Right? This is when the bulls get asked, are you sure? You break out above it, and now you're in a situation where it's like, yeah, we've broken out, but we're not 1,000,000% confident that we're going to stay out here. So what'll happen is the crypto will typically go back to that resistance point, try to flip it from resistance to support. The bulls get asked, are you sure? And if they are sure, well, then you're going to hold it and continue upwards. That's called a back test. And generally speaking, I like to see back tests on a daily perspective. Okay, what I generally like to see is on the daily candles, a clear breakout, come back down, continue above. Now, the problem with that, though, is that one, if that does happen, that would entail that Bitcoin would come back to like $82,000. So, which obviously doesn't sound great, doesn't feel great, but it is a possibility. The only caveat to that, though, is that Bitcoin had what's called a melt through breakout. And a melt through breakout looks like this, which is when you melt through a resistance point. You see how, like, we had this descending level of resistance and we didn't just like break straight above it. We kind of like slowly went through it. What I have analyzed, and I don't have raw data on this, so I'm not going to say it from a factual perspective, but it's just from what I've seen, is that when a crypto can have a melt through breakout, it doesn't always need the full back test because it had a lot of time to decide here, right? We spent a lot of time and a lot of volume and a lot of liquidity moving through this zone. And so it wasn't like this was just a rapid breakout that needs to be confirmed. This one had a lot of time to figure it out, and it did decide to figure it out. Now, if we do go to the 1-hour charts, for example, we did have a backtest. Breakout, backtest, continuation. But I do typically like to see it on the daily charts, and that is usually my number 1 step of the 3. So it's like I'm going to give this a half complete. Okay, I'm going to give this a half complete. This might have been enough, but I am still aware that we might come back down for a real one, so I'm just give that a half complete. Okay. The second thing that I like to look for is what's called the higher high. Very simple stuff here, guys. The higher high. The higher high is probably the most important part of this entire system. And the reason why is because this is what will truly determine if structure is changing. Now, a higher high is very simple to understand, guys. Whenever you're in a downtrend, you're setting what's called lower highs, which means you have this high, and then this high, and then this high. And this one is higher than this one, which is higher than this one. Or, in other words, this one is lower than this one, which was lower than this one. Lower highs. Now, what we need to see is that if market structure is going to change, we need to see what's called a higher high, which is when you have a high, you make another high, and that second high is higher than the first high. High, 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 high. That's called a higher high. And the reason, again, it's so important is because this then says, oh, snap, we are actually breaking and changing the descending structure that we've been in, which is what you need if you're going to see growth. And so looking at this thing here, what I need to see for step number 2 is whether or not Bitcoin can set the higher high. Where does that happen at? Well, the place that happens at is where you saw the most recent. If I say high one more time, I'm going to jump off my cliff. But anyway, how do we find that? Well, it is the high that you had to use in the descending channel. And so what you can see here is that we set this one in right here. That means that this is our most recent high, and this is the one that we need to get back above. And so the current situation and the current step that we're in right now is trying to get back above this one to set the higher high, to set the new structure. Okay, that's step number 2. Let's just go ahead and call this HH. You know what? Here, let me make this a little bit better. Boom, boom, break out and back test. I used to call it Bob T, but I think it's kind of stupid, but maybe we'll stick to it. Bob T. Number 2, HH. Number 3, HL. Okay. So the next step from here is we need to set the higher low. So once you set a higher high, boom, now what are we looking for? Well, of course, we're looking for the higher low, because the higher low is what confirms the new change in structure. This higher high starts the change in structure, okay? So it says that structure is changing. A higher low then confirms that structure has changed, and we are now in what's called an ascending channel, or an ascending structure, or an uptrend, whatever you want to call it. And it's very important. And generally, this happens right after the higher high, right? Because you use so much energy to break out of this structure, so much energy to get back above this most recent high, that the bulls are going to be just breathing, just like you're on a Stairmaster on step 50,000, and you're just like, dude, I'm so tired, right? And then you're going to see that price come back down, and you're going to see it slow down. The bears are going to step in. Some of those over-leveraged bulls are going to get liquidated. And then you're going to come back down to try to find that higher low. And once you get it, that's your confirmation. And that's step number 3. That says, oh yeah, we're out of the descending structure. We're finally making some moves to the top side. And so to summarize, what we need to see kind of going forward is first Bob T. We need to see breakout, backtest, breakout, backtest. Again, I will give this a half check, like a little half check, because when you have a melt through breakout, sometimes, just sometimes, you don't need to see the back test because it had so much time to decide here. We'll give it a half check, but we'll be mindful that it might come back down because sometimes it correlates with the higher low, which will make sense in a second. The next step here is that we need to get back above this recent high, which means that we need to break above $88,700. But let's call it $89,000 just to give us a little wiggle room. Okay, that's not really, I mean, I'll give that a little bit of a check as well. And then obviously the higher low, which hasn't been started yet. These are the 3 things that need to happen in order to confirm that this is a real breakout and that we're seeing the structure of the entire thing change, because that's really what you're looking for. You're looking for an actual structural change here. And that's what I do. So knowing now, let's kind of pivot, knowing now that this is what we're looking for Bob T, hello, right? The next thing that I will then decide is, knowing what we're looking for, I'll say, okay, so what do I do in response to this, right? This is what we're looking for. So what do I do in response to this? So the very first thing that I do whenever we are in Bob T, okay, which is just breakout and back test, is I actually don't really do too much. Okay. When we're in the breakout phase, I really don't do anything at all. You know, I had been taking profits at these highs. Now I just want to see how high we can go. But what I will do in step number 1 is I will take a little bit of a gamble here with a bit of a leverage trade. If we see Bitcoin backtest this descending channel that we had, sometimes what I'll do is open up leverage trades, a leverage long trade with a trailing stop loss or a take profit, just depending, but in this example, a stop loss that follows the channel. So it's not like an actual, I didn't mean to do that. It's not like an actual level that I can put in to say something like BTCC. But what I'll do is I'll say this. All right, if we see Bitcoin come back down and backtest the descending channel, I do think that we are going to try to rally off of it. So what I'll do is I'll open up a low leverage long trade on that channel, and I'll be aware that if at any given point we fall back in the channel, I'll close down the trade. Some platforms do allow you to do diagonal stop losses, but they are difficult to find, and many of them are not good. I typically just take a bit of a gamble and just say that I'll close it if I see it. But I'll obviously if I'm sleeping or something, I'm screwed, which is again why it's a low leverage long trade here. Okay. So Steinar, shout out to you. So with that in mind, that is the only thing I'll generally do in step number 1. And that's about it, to be honest. Now, in step number 2, it usually does involve me taking profits, actually. So what you must remember is that if we are breaking out, it means we are previously in a structure. In this example, the structure we were in was a descending channel. Now, within this structure, we were doing purchases, of course, in the middle, right here, and we were doing purchases right here, and we were doing purchases right here. This means that as we start to see this thing rally, that we're actually going to be in profit most likely, and we are actually. The three purchases, main purchases that we did right here are now all in profit. And so congratulations to those of you who did get in on those trades over the last couple months, but now we're in profit. And so my strategy actually is that as we're going up to go test the top side to see, if we can set the higher high, I actually do take profits on the way up. So what I'm going to do for you in a second here is I'm actually going to lay out the key levels where I am going to do some profit taking as we are running back upwards. Because what you must remember is that although this is fun and the right now feels great, it doesn't guarantee that this is going to be what sends us to all-time highs. The harsh reality is that we could be in a macro downtrend. We could be in a bear market. And what that would look like is Bitcoin rallying, giving us some relief, and then just continuing back to the downside. And so although you may not want to, I do believe it is in most people's best interest that if they're in profit after a breakout, to be taking some profits on the way up, which is what I'm going to do in a second here when I show you my step 2 plan. And then step number 3 is that say we see Bitcoin come all the way back up here, then it starts to pull back. I'll take a similar approach as I did with the backtest, and I will be willing to do some sort of long trade just for fun. Say Bitcoin's price rallies all the way up to 94K, then it starts coming all the way back down to say $83,000. Once I start to get signs of overselling, right, in which I think that we're going to start to rally, I'll open up some low leverage long trades, just hoping to catch some sort of rally off that breakout and backtest. So we broke out, we set the higher high, we set the higher low, we established an uptrend. Now we continue for the uptrend. My goal is to try to catch some sort of low leverage trade right here. Stop losses would be set at key support levels. Okay, very simple stuff. So to summarize here, all I do in these situations is when we break out, which is what we're doing right now, I don't really do anything, maybe take some profits at a key level of resistance. Once we go for a backtest, or if we go to our backtest, I'll open up a low leverage long trade on the structure that we're backtesting. Once we do then start running up towards some higher highs, I'll take some profits along the way. Not all my profit, but a decent amount of profit. And then at any given point that we come back down for a higher low, I'll open up and again another low leverage long trade with the stop loss set at some of your key levels, support levels below it. And with this in mind, that's it. That's what I do. Now, I know that might seem simple, but most of my strategies are simple. I mean, think back to our descending channel strategy that just made a ton of profit. Buy here, sell up here. Very simple things, but they're extremely effective. And that's why I like strategies, because they don't have to be complicated. They can be a 3-step system that you use to make a ton of money in here. And the beautiful part is that if Bitcoin does run, we're going to make so much money from the trades that we open here, the purchases that we open here, the purchases that we did here, and we're just going to be taking profits all the way up, guys. It's going to be beautiful. But if Bitcoin decides that we're going to, just dump here, guess what? We didn't get involved. We're still in profit from these purchases that we did for a while, and we didn't open up any huge, crazy, stupid trades right here that got us trapped like some bulls would get trapped. It's an amazing balance. And sure, no, it's a little boring, and it is me kind of being a little bit more cautious, but the reality is that the longer I've been in crypto, the more cautious I've become, and that happens for a reason. It happens for a reason. I get cautious. I've gotten cautious over the last 6-7 years for a reason. I think it's the best thing. I genuinely believe in the term that has been used in many areas of life, but specifically in crypto, is only the paranoid survive. And the people who are the most paranoid in these situations are often the one who wins. And that's why I am paranoid. And that's why I'm following my 3-step system. Okay. So with that in mind, that's what I'm doing for Bitcoin right now. And that's my plan. That is it. And, before I do kind of shift gears and kind of talk about what's happening in the market, M2 money supply, I do actually want to let you guys know something, because we did take another win as well. As you all know, I recently partnered up with a company named CoinX, right? And I think many of you have probably seen CoinX before, but it is a platform that we partnered up with that has a ton of different options for like passive income and all that good stuff. Now, I told you all actually that I was probably going to be buying a little bit of their token because I did think the platform was very good. And what do you know? If we actually do go look at the 7-day, CoinX is absolutely sending. So CoinX is up from 6.3 cents all the way up to 6.9 cents, had a high of about roughly 7 cents, which is like a 20 or 30% gain, and it's smashing. And I do actually think when you look at it from a 1-year perspective, it has one of the best performances since, this is 2019, 2020, 2021. This is some of the best performance from a small centralized exchange that I've ever seen before. Okay. Now, I think the general reason is because of obviously their deflationary model. It does help centralized exchanges a ton. Obviously, there's a 20% of their trading fees go to repurchase purchasing the token itself, and they have a massive burn rate of over 72%, which is why the token has been doing so well. And so I did kind of not want to flex, I guess, but just kind of say, congratulations. I have been talking about them, I think, for about 4 weeks now, and to see the platform doing great is one thing, but to also see the token doing well is another thing. And so with that in mind, just wanted to shout them out. Obviously, I'm super, super happy to partner up with them and happy to have them as a proud sponsor of the channel. So with that in mind, just wanted to show you what they had going on, and they're smashing it, absolutely smashing it. So congratulations, and obviously shout out to them. Now, moving a little bit along, okay? Moving a little bit along. Let's kind of talk about what's happening outside of Bitcoin. Let's talk about how this is going. So when we move over to something like Cryptobubbles, okay, when we look at something like Cryptobubbles, I mean, it's beautiful, guys. It's beautiful. The day, green. The week, green. Now, obviously, the month still decently red, and the year is very red still for the majority of it. But in this moment that we have right now, we're looking pretty strong. You got STX, ENA, Mana, Ray, Fartcoin, Sweet, LDO, and many more seeing beautiful gains of anywhere from 4 to 10%. But one thing that I notice whenever we are seeing this little rally here in the market is that it's actually a very, very healthy rally, guys. It's a super healthy rally. And sorry, there's like a tag stabbing the hell out my neck. But it's a super healthy rally. Do you guys see how, like, right now, we're not seeing all of these alts just pumping crazy numbers, 20, 15, or, 20, 30, 40% in a day, but rather it's pretty subtle, 5%, 6%, 10%. And then you go to, say, the top 10, for example, and it's looking actually pretty solid. Just Solana, up a nice little 1%, but clearing on the day. You're seeing BNB, 2%, XRP, 2%. The reason why this is such a good thing is because it allows a move like we're in right now to actually continue. The problem that I've come to realize over time in history, just to give you context, is that oftentimes when we see breakouts like this, they usually just get absorbed by greed that gets liquidated fast. So we break out a little bit. Everyone gets super excited. Everyone starts, shout out to Mr. Nibbles, Mr. HMZ. We get a breakout like this. Everyone starts screaming. Everyone gets excited. Everyone starts opening up huge leverage long trades. Everyone starts buying all of these altcoins. And then the whales see this as a feeding frenzy. Prices get forced back down. You see a whole bunch of liquidations as alts get smashed, Bitcoin gets smashed, the fear and greed index starts dropping. I mean, it's ugly stuff. What we're seeing right now isn't that. We're seeing altcoins rallying, but not rallying too crazy. Bitcoin dominance is climbing, actually, in this breakout. You look at liquidation maps, and sure, they are pretty high, right? We are seeing people starting to open up leverage long trades, but it's not an absurd amount, right? There are some liquidations, but it's not so heavy weighted to where it's like red line up here, green line down here. Same thing for the 7-day. It is getting a little bit more weighted, but it's not as big as it has been. We've seen this at 15, 20, 30 billion before, guys. Only at 9 billion right now, right? We're seeing people not going too stupid right now, and that's actually a pretty good sign. If we actually do look in the fear and greed index, which I don't believe is updated yet for the day, but what you can see here is we're not even in greed. I mean, Bitcoin just saw a breakout for the first time in 5 months, and we're not even in greed yet. And by the end of the week, we might be. But this means that the market's kind of slow rolling. It's making a slow approach towards this breakout. And I think that's a fantastic sign. I think it's a very good thing to see that the market's taking its time with this breakout. And I think that means that we are going to see some sort of reasonable injection of liquidity here into the crypto market, which could actually last a while. Healthy, strong, stable liquidity that'll start with Bitcoin and flow its way to the top 5, flow its way to the top 10, and then likely find its way into the micro caps afterwards. Very good stuff. I love to see that we're not overdoing it right now. Now, even if you look at something just to kind of further go down into this route, but you look at your RSI heat map. On the 4-hour, sure, things are starting to get a little bit heavy because things are pumping, but look at this, right? Look at the 12-hour. Neutral, we're still sitting in the neutral zone on your average RSI. 24-hour, still sitting at the neutral zone. 1 week, still not even in the neutral zone, right? So we're seeing the market actually responding to this breakout well. And again, do all of these things say for sure that Bitcoin's just going to do this? No, hell no, of course not. At any given point, Bitcoin might just fall right back in this descending channel, and you're going to have me on here being monotone and aggravated as per usual. But it's giving us a good chance. What we're seeing is a market that's actually giving us a very, very good chance of giving us a sustainable, clear path upwards. And it feels very, very good. Okay, it feels very, very good. Now, before I actually start diving into one thing, actually, what I want to also kind of touch on real quick is global M2 monetary supply. So a lot of people have talked about this, and I do find it to be a very interesting concept and a very interesting subject because we have actually seen a ton of correlation, especially over the last year. My general thoughts on this is that it does make a lot of sense, right? The core premise of what people believe when it comes to M2 money supply is the more monetary supply that there is, or just global liquidity that there is, the more that you will find an injection of liquidity into the world of crypto that will then pump prices because, of course, crypto is a crypto. How do I explain this? Crypto as a whole is very liquidity dependent, meaning that when there's a lot of liquidity, crypto does good. No liquidity, crypto do bad. And we're in a spot right now where global liquidity is increasing, and that does seem to be correlating with the possible growth of Bitcoin. But the biggest thing that I do want to just kind of say is that when everyone believes that a narrative is going to happen, oftentimes something will eventually change, right? And the fact that everyone now thinks that we're going to for sure pump right now because of this, it does make me just think, I do factor this into my analysis, and I do think this is important, but I definitely wouldn't just like follow this exactly. Like going forward, I wouldn't say, okay, well, we're going to pump a little bit. We're going to go all the way to a new lower low, and then we're going to rally exactly like this, because it doesn't always happen like that, right? This thing was casually trending upwards while while we did see overall, let's see, look how this played out. Bitcoin's price shot up to an all-time high, came back down, pushed back up to another all-time high, and then dropped while money supply was just casually trending upwards. So there are moments where it does break apart. There are moments where you do see a differentiation. And in a moment like this, when there is a ton of volatility, I do believe that it would be very likely for moments like these to start to look a little different, a little divergent. And so I wouldn't be banking on this completely, but it does help our chances, again, at seeing this thing running, that M2 money supply is climbing. I will contribute to that discussion or narrative to that degree. So I did want to factor that in. Now, going forward, though, one thing that I did forget to tell you guys is what I am doing here in step number 2. Because you remember, as I told you, I do plan on taking profits to the top side. I actually want to go in real quick and show you the levels that I'm planning on taking profits at. So let's go ahead and do that then, shall we? So what's the quickest way for me to do this? Let me think. Let me think. I could just erase all this. This is going to be annoying. Give me a second. See if I can just get rid of all this real quick. Just the main things. I'll put it back on in a little while. I hate that there's not like an erase function. There might be. Maybe I'm just dumb. But anyway, okay. So where am I going to be taking profits at? So I actually do have a take profit level that is right around where we are right now, and that is going to go into effect around the end of this stream, I'm sure. I don't know if it triggered or not. I honestly didn't look because I forgot. But I basically always will take a little bit of profit on that most recent high. The reason why I'll almost always take profits right here is because this is your higher high determining level. If you break above this, you've officially set a higher high. If you can't break above it, you've not set a higher high. And what will oftentimes happen is we'll use this level as a decision-making zone. The bulls will get to this and decide, do they need a break for a back test, or can they build up the troops and push past it? And generally, knowing that this is a decision-making zone, it is a level where we're going to kind of halt at or stall out at. And so I will take a bit of profit off the table here. So this is one of my take profit zones. It is a small take profit zone. Okay. It's not one where I take maybe, big profit. Maybe I'll close down, 10, 15, 20% of the purchases that I did back in here, something along those lines. Okay. Not of my main portfolio, obviously not the whole thing, but just some of those more recent purchases. Okay. Now, the next thing from there, the next level that I will take some profits at is, put simply, how do I explain this? This is called a short-term golden zone. So oftentimes what I've come to recognize is that there are multiple golden zones to the top side. There's not always just one big one. And usually what I'll look for is try to decide whether there's a short-term golden zone, which is generally going to be built off of your second highest high. And this is where things are going to get a little bit complicated, so feel free to kind of just tune out for a second here. But for those of you who are very interested in Fibonacci's and golden zones, what I've come to recognize is that when you can locate your second high of a structure, so meaning you have your first high up here, then your second high, the golden zone that forms from your second high to the bottom is actually a very strong zone of resistance. And so what I'll do is I'll grab my Fibonacci's and I'll actually go in and I'll draw in my Fibonacci from that second high all the way down to this low, and it does equate to a very strong point of resistance. Now, coincidentally, quote unquote, this bottom of the top of this red zone actually aligns almost perfectly with the bottom side of this golden zone, which does somewhat further validate this this resistance level. But overall, you kind of get the point, right? So what I'll then do is I'll say, okay, my second take profit level is going to align with the top side of this golden zone, which in this instance is $93,000. So I have small take profit level here, then I'll have kind of like medium take profit level here. okay, because it's the top side of my short-term golden zone. Then what I'll do is I'll draw in my Fibonacci from the all-time high or the highest point of the structure all the way down to that low, and that gives me my big take profit zone. And the interesting thing is, do you now see how the bottom side of our macro golden zone aligns perfectly with the top side of our medium take profit level or our short-term golden zone? These things aren't coincidences, guys. When you have key levels of resistance that align with each other perfectly, it's not a coincidence, and I don't care who says what, okay? And so now we have our short-term, or a small take profit level, medium take profit level, which aligns with the 618 level in the macro golden zone, and then the top side golden zone, which is my large take profit level. This is where I do big profit taking because it's going to be hard to clear this. Although I want Bitcoin to rally back up to 100K plus, the reality is it's going to be very difficult for Bitcoin to do it. There are many things that will need to happen, and it might not be fast. We might see Bitcoin do this, and then boom, and then come back down, and then backtest, and then come back up here, then come all the way back down, and then rally, and then, you might see all these things happen. And I want to be taking profits at the levels in which we're the most likely to get rejected off of, which is why I drew it, of course, at this golden zone, and this resistance level, liquidity zone. And so this is my strategy. Small take profits here, medium here, large ones here. And the beautiful part about it is as we get higher and higher, guys, those purchases that we did in here and in here and in here and even here, they're all in profit. And we're just printing profit right there. And that's not even the macro portfolio. That's just short-term purchases that we did, guys. Our macro portfolio is smashing it too. Because, guys, all those purchases that, I don't know how many of you guys were here with me in 2022 and 2023, but all those purchases that we were doing in these accumulative zones here during the bear market, I mean, these things are up 4x, 3.7x, 3x, 2.5x. I mean, these purchases down here are smashing it. Even the ones that we did last year, smashing it. So we're kind of taking profits off our short-term trades, mid-term holds, long-term bags, and things are looking juicy, juicy, juicy. Now, am I going to close down all my position? Let's say hypothetically, we get up to my large take profit level, the top side of this golden zone, right around $100,000 roughly. Am I going to close down all of it? No, of course not. Definitely not. But I will have closed down, 30, 40, 50%. Of course I would, because I'm smashing through these purchases that we did here, right? Like all these purchases that we did right here, I'll basically be like 70 to 90% out of by the time we hit these levels, right? Because these are just short-term dollar cost averages. And that's the game plan that we play. And, people overcomplicate it. They make it hard. They try to complicate things. I don't really think that it's necessary. Buy in the low periods, take profit in the high periods, and let that puppy run for the long term. And that's exactly what we're doing. And so let me go in, give you the exact levels. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. And I'm going to draw out our brand new strategy for you guys for the coming future here. Let me know how you guys feel about this too. I feel like we've been doing a ton of analysis for like 35 minutes straight. Usually I will try to like entertain you guys a little bit more, but I've started to shift my idea to the belief that it's more important to have less minutes with more value than more minutes with less value, right? And so I just want to pack all these videos and live streams in with as much value as humanly possible. So let me know if you guys have been enjoying this stream, okay? But here is level number 1. Here is level number 2. Here is level number 3. Bam. And then what I'll go in and do is I'll put, how do I type on here? Do you guys remember how to do that? Oh, there we go. Small TP. Value so good. Keep it coming. Love to hear it. Okay. Okay. And then let me lay out the steps here for you as well. And just give me a second and you guys will be able to screenshot this when I'm done. I mean, you can screenshot it whenever you want, but all the info will be here for you. Bob T. High or low. And then, so what I'll do is, how do I, maybe there's a, oh shit, I don't know what that did. Whoops. So on the, and I'm going to go over, I'm going to summarize this all with you in a second. Don't worry. There we go. Okay. Breakout, low lev long on backtest. I'm willing to do a trade on that. Higher high, take profits. That's what I'll generally do. And then higher low, low lev. This is oftentimes a little bit of a bigger one, I've come to notice. Medium, lev, long, on, low. So what does all this mean? Okay, here we go, guys. So give this a little screenshot real quick. Let me do this for you. Okay, so what does all this mean? What are we doing here? Okay, so just to kind of review, just to kind of summarize everything here. Okay, Bob T, breakout, backtest. So the first thing that you need to look for is a breakout and then a backtest. Sometimes you want backtest if you melt through it, which is what we did here. So step one is like kind of complete, but do be aware that we might pull back one time here, especially because there are enough liquidations, I think, to tempt the lizards into doing it, right? Like if you look at liquidation map and you look at here and then you look at the 7-day, like, you know, this is going to be tempting for the lizard people. They might go for that liquidation, which would look like us coming back down like this. So just know step one might not be complete, but it might be complete. So it's kind of annoying, I know. But if we do backtest at any given point and we do pull back, I do plan on opening up a low leverage long trade with some sort of trailing, or not even a trailing, but a descending stop loss on that descending channel, like that right there. Okay. The higher high, the next thing you want to see, if you do see a backtest or if you don't see a backtest, is setting the higher high, which is looking at your channel, determining where your most recent high was, and then trying to set a high higher than that so that you can start changing the market structure. And then once you have a higher high, I am planning on taking some profits, generally like I am doing at the small take profit level. And then the very last thing is, of course, a medium leverage long trade on a low if we do go for the higher low. So once you set a high, you'll typically come back down and try to find a low. When we do that, I am going to be looking to time that back test with some sort of low leverage long trades that I might ladder into if we do continue to fall. And that's my plan. That's my strategy. I'm going to simply low leverage long trade if we backtest here, low leverage long trade if we backtest at any given point, take profit at these key levels here, and just let this puppy ride. And once/if we do break above my large take profit level, then obviously I will implement my extension strategy, because there's a strategy for everything. And at which point, of course, I would then be looking at this thing from a Fibonacci perspective, and then using my Fibonacci's to determine where I am going to do some profit taking. I have a strategy for everything, guys. And that's the reason why I feel like I'm going to talk my shit for a second here. This is the reason why I feel like I've lived so long in crypto. I've made money almost every year in crypto. I've survived so long. Why I'm confident, why I'm consistent in crypto, because I have strategies no matter what crypto is doing. It's the reason why when everybody was just losing in here, guys, we were buying at fantastic times, taking profits at even better times. And now we're positioned to where if we do run here, we took advantage of this as best as possible. You need your strategies. And what I will let you know is that if you don't have your strategies in place, guys, if your strategy isn't as tedious as mine is, what I want you to do is I want you to head to the link down below and I want you to go check out the Crypto Strategy School. It's a school that I developed with a couple other guys. And what we do is very simple. We take crypto investors like yourselves and we give you the tools that you need to develop strategies just like the ones that I have. Because a real good strategy, just like the one that we implemented back here, the reason why we're winning right now is because of a strategy, because a strategy creates a winning investor. And I define a winning investor as someone who is confident, someone who is consistent. And so if you feel like you lack confidence to make moves in this market and the moves you're making are just not consistently winning, what I want you to do is I want you to go check out the link in the description below. And the best part about it is if you don't grow within the first few hours, guys, I'll just give you your money back. That's how confident I am. The amount of value that we provide here is insanity. And just as a bit of a bonus, you're also going to get all of my stuff. Everything that I have when I'm buying, selling, my portfolios, trades I'm making, everything. Guys, the plan I told you about today, I told them about hours ago. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's daily analysis, deep dives, weekly reports, pro trade signals, coaching, workshops, masterminds, live streams, and all of that is available for you over in the Patreon. And so if that does interest you, again, there's thousands of members here. Feel free to go check it out. The link is down below. Okay. So moving a little bit along, remember, I'm going to give you one more opportunity to screenshot this real quick. If you do want to use it, let me turn my camera off 1 second. Boom. Okay. All right. Let's move a little bit forward. Now, guys, I know I'm starting to talk about doing low leverage long trades, right? And I'm starting to talk about leverage trading again. I do want to remind you, if you are a beginner to trading, if you are a beginner in crypto, I don't want you leveraging. I ain't your financial advisor. Do as you pleased. Do what you please. I don't care what you do, but I do care about you. And I think if you're a beginner and you're new to crypto, you shouldn't be leverage trading. It's just gambling. It's taking a massive risk. I didn't feel comfortable leverage trading for like almost a year or two after I started. So please be careful with that. But if you are experienced and if you do know what you are doing, I want you to head to the link down below and I want you to go check out Fimix. Okay. Over on Fimix, you only have 9 days left for the event that we're running right now, where you can get a VIP1 membership for 30 days. You can get a deposit and a deposit bonus of up to 20%, $500 max on that. And every week you're going to get a random bonus between $5 and $100 just for signing up and starting to trade. So hit the link down below. Go check that out. Let me know what you think. Now, what I want to do now is I want to jump into Total 2. Okay, I want to jump into Total 2 because this is something that I'm paying very close attention to right now. Alrighty. Hold on. I might have missed it, but do you do more frequent live streams or are you flying to another state again? I am going to Dubai on Saturday, but I plan on doing some live streams there. But I am going to be out of the office again this week. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm always on the move. But your boy just got married. I gotta travel. Okay, so what I want to focus on really quickly is, he said, why is Bitcoin falling so hard? What do you mean? I mean, it's just a back test, you know. There's nothing too crazy. I'm not scared of that at all. Who cares? Okay. So bam. So one thing that I am very curious about is what's happening here with Total 2. Because what you can see here is that Total 2 is actually trying to follow in Bitcoin's footsteps right now and trying to break out of it. And I actually think that we can use this descending structure for Total 2 as a determining factor of when we should really start shifting our attention back to altcoins. Do you guys remember how I told you over the last couple of months that my main focus has been Bitcoin for quite a while? Just because Bitcoin dominance was trending upwards, it was clearly in control. Bitcoin was in charge of the market, okay? It was in charge of the market. Well, I told you recently that I am starting to notice signs that a shift is probably going to happen. And there is a shift coming in crypto where it will shift from Bitcoin to altcoins, where all of the attention and energy and liquidity that Bitcoin is getting right now is going to flow into altcoins, especially considering how healthy this liquidity injection has been over the last couple days or so. And I think that Total 2's descending channel can kind of be another identifying factor of that shift. When altcoins finally decide to follow in Bitcoin's footsteps to break out of these descending structures that they're in, it's probably going to put us in a position where it's a good time to start paying a lot of attention to alts and probably start heavily dollar cost averaging on alts. And so right now, although I am still focused on Bitcoin, mostly like 80% of my energy, I am starting to pay closer and closer and closer attention to altcoins. And I'm watching closely to see if we get this breakout here, because once alts do open the door for themselves to grow, then I'm going to start to shift my liquidity from Bitcoin into altcoins to follow suit with the market. So we've been making a bunch of money off of Bitcoin recently. We're going to let that keep rolling. We're going to take some profits here. And then once altcoins do start giving us those signs of life we're looking for, we'll shift our attention to altcoins to start making some money off of those again. Now, some of those alts will include maybe Ethereum because it is at a macro level of support down here. It'll include definitely some Solana, wherever that bad boy is. I don't know why I don't see it. 1 second. Dude, did I delete my Solana chart? Are you kidding? That's very un-Tyler characteristic. I guess so. Weird guy. Oh no, there it is. I was about to say no way. But yeah, maybe some Solana, because Solana has broken out of its descending channel already. Great sign. So Solana will be one that we get in on. Sui holding up a macro support level, flipping this resistance into a support level, looking good there. XRP, it's in its own descending triangular structure. When it does break out of this, I do think it might be open season for XRP to make some growth. ADA, not so interested in right now. HBAR, when it breaks out of this descending channel, that'll be another good one to be looking at. I think I said Sui already. Pepe and Shib, I'm not worried about those right now, but I will start paying more attention to them soon here. Definitely be on the lookout for Pepe to try to break this, to use this either Adam and Eve or cup and handle, whatever you want to call it, to use that to push back up towards 11.4 though, pretty soon. I'll update you on that. What's another one? Caspa is another one that I would be doing a little bit of DCAing on, doing a great job at flipping resistance into support. So I'll be trying to make some money off of that bad boy. What is this? Fartcoin, no thanks. Nero, no thanks. I don't know. No. Where's Ondo at? Ondo is another one, holding this macro golden zone, looking beautiful. Might try to give us some sort of rally back up to $1.20. That's another one I'll be trying to make some money on. TARS AI is still my micro cap pick. I know it struggled really bad, but I do think that it will have a future. So TARS AI is another one. ICP, maybe a little bit of ICP action because it's in this golden zone, but not a ton of ICP action because I haven't liked this price action back in November and December. Doge, not really interested in that one right now, to be honest. Jasmy, same thing, not super interested right now. ICP, I said this one already. Hedera, I said this one already. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of my plans. But again, right now, I am still just focused on Bitcoin. I'm slowly shifting my attention to alts, but not quite yet. Okay, not quite yet. I'm watching out for things like Bitcoin dominance to break down. I'm looking for things like Total 2 to break out. And once we start getting those signs of breakouts for alts, then I'll shift my attention towards them. Okay, then I'll shift my attention towards them. So yeah, so that's kind of where I am. 8 minutes of me just kind of giving you guys my full strategy, my full plan, my full analysis. I hope that's been valuable, guys. I hope that's been valuable. I've been trying to do my best to, again, just give you as much value as humanly possible. And if you guys do feel like I have been accomplishing that, again, I would really appreciate it if you could just smash that like button. I mean, it's cliche, it's cringe. I know, trust me, I know. But the reality is that it does help out a ton. And I hope you guys do enjoy it. I do want to show you something real quickly because I don't think all of you know about this. If you have been finding these videos super valuable and like especially when it comes to kind of like strategy stuff and all that, I don't know if you know this or not, but I actually do have a second channel. It's called Tyler Teaches Crypto and it should be linked down below. No, not linked here. Let me go ahead and let me throw that in the description real quick for you guys. One sec. I'm going to go ahead and throw it in the description real quick. If you guys want to, you can head to the link down below and 1 second, check out my second channel. Boom. So if you do want to go ahead and give your page a refresh in like 20 seconds, you guys will be able to access. There we go. Bam. Boom. That's doom. I actually did realize I forgot to turn kid friendly off, so I think that might have messed up the notifications a little bit, but I think it's fine. But yeah, if you guys do want to check out the link in the description, which is in there now, just give it a little refresh. You guys will be able to access this. I have 3 videos here. I mean, guys, this is nearly 45 minutes worth of content talking about a huge lesson that I learned. This video is all about how you can win while crypto is manipulated, right? So you know how we get liquidated, there's leverage, there's lizard people, all this stuff. This teaches you exactly how to win against it. This strategy right here will tell you how I bought Solana when Solana was less than $12, exactly what I was looking for and the type of growth I was able to make. And then obviously these were 15 or 12, I can't remember, lessons that I've learned in the world of crypto. All of this is available. I post here once a week. Feel free to go check that out. And while you are down there, I have one more thing I want to push to you, and that is our 14-day masterclass. It is live. It is free. You don't have to spend $1 on it. Nothing. All you have to do is go insert your information in right here, just your name, your email, and your Instagram if you have one. And I'm going to send you an email every single day with a new lesson. It'll be beginner's guides, how to win in manipulative moments, spotting traps, positioning your trades, all this stuff, a whole bunch of value for 14 days straight. And it's completely for free. Nothing you need to do. And if at any given point you have a question, guys, about this, about the school, about Femex, whatever, head over to Instagram, shoot me a DM. I'll respond to you as soon as possible. So that's all that, guys. And I think I'm going to call it there. What I do want you all to do is drop some questions in the chat. Drop some questions in the chat, and I'll answer questions for the next like 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go grab some lunch. Whew. All righty. Let's see. What we got? Also, let me know, is this camera angle comfortable for you guys, right? Because I know you used to be a little bit more like here. Let me know, is it cool? Like, when you see my background, you're going to understand why I made this change, because what I have coming right here, dude, freaking fire. But yeah, you'll see. But let me know if this is like, okay, if this is like a comfortable angle. All right, let's see what we got. Hey, I'm new to the crypto school. Is there a section where we can go through in the Discord that we can start our strategy with all the tools we need? We are putting all that together for you. Stay tuned. The first place that I want you to start, though, no, not you, Ricky. First place that I want you to start is, just stay tuned. I have a big announcement coming later today. Just stay tuned. Okay. Or probably tomorrow. Stay tuned. Looks like solid bullish divergence on the daily candles. Doge on Doge. Yeah, I'm just not too interested in Doge itself right now. I'm just not interested in memes yet. I would appreciate your thoughts on whether you view Bitcoin as more of a risk asset or more of a safe haven. I feel like it's a safe haven within a risky digital asset class, or a safe haven within a risky asset class is the way I see it. Everyone's so scared of what's happening with crypto right now. Everyone's kind of freaking out, and I don't understand why. So everybody's like, oh, Bitcoin is dumping. What's happening? You're like kind of freaking out a little bit. Guys, it's fine. We just exhausted a ton of energy breaking out of this massive descending channel. We just hit our take profit level, which is a very, and look, move it to this red line right here. As you can see, we just hit the take profit level, which is a very difficult level to clear. The bulls used a ton of energy getting out here. All they're going to do right now is come back down, see if we can find some support, whether it be here, whether it be down here, whether it be all the way back at the channel, try to find some support, and then try to use that support to push back upwards. This is not a big deal. No one cares. Stop freaking out. It's fine. Okay. Sorry to be an asshole. Okay. Hey, Tyler, I'm from India and crypto taxes here are insane. That's why I'm doing leverage trading is useless. So I'm planning for a whole bull run. Is it okay to DCA time to time and take profits at the top? Absolutely. Very good plan. Another Tyler. I also think Bitcoin backtest because it seems to always have a pump and dump after a death cross, but before the golden cross comes in. Yep, agreed. Quick brunch found value in it. I love to see it. John wants to go over Crow. We'll go over that one day. What coins are you looking to get into once Bitcoin dominance comes in? If you rewind about 5-10 minutes, I went through and just kind of showed you some of the ones. Domination, you're the goat of crypto learning. Much appreciated. Thank you. Bimdito, much appreciated. All your content helps me understand. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Sam Burger, I think we all feel that. What are your Fibonacci settings? Oh, I think you might have been... Someone asked me recently to show my settings. Here, I'm glad you did. My Fibonacci settings look like this. There you go. So style looks like this. And then background, prices, I don't change any of this. And then I put fib levels based on log scale on. And then I go to settings and make sure that I'm set on logarithmic. Thank you for asking. What do you think about Bitcoin ETFs? For me, it makes sense because I now have the TFSAA. Yeah, I think it's great. I see no problem with that. Pepe Sol and Pepe eat the same thing. I'm looking at Dexter and I never understood this. Nope. So Pepe Sol is going to be the trading pair from Pepe to Sol. So how Pepe is performing against Sol. And then Pepe ETH will be the opposite, or just how Pepe is performing compared to ETH. Yeah, it definitely, all the bullshit definitely pulled a lot of liquidity that slowed us down. Very good. Why you picking Ian over Protez? I think Ian's just a better fighter. Protez is hard as shit though. So will you be watching the Infineon launch tomorrow? Absolutely. For long-term holding, should I just be consistently accumulating or taking profits? Both. Both. Accumulated lows, take profits on pumps. Easy peasy. The CSS being backwards is driving my OCD crazy. It looks to me like, hold on, wait. Because I had to set it backwards because it was backwards. Hold on. Is it backwards for y'all? Oh, shit. No way. Watch. Hold on. Wait. I'm so confused. Oh, wait. No. We're good. We're good. There you go. Dude, that's so annoying. So on StreamYard... Yeah, on StreamYard, it was backwards. So I flipped it backwards, but then YouTube flipped it through. Whatever. It's been backwards this whole time. I hate my life. Anyway. Anywho. Okay. Got you. Should I invest now or wait for bigger retests? I'm waiting for a pullback to buy anything. I wonder what your opinion on BCH. I'm just not, I don't really know that much about it. I looked at it because someone asked me about it the other day. You're a good teacher. Much appreciated, John. Thank you. You got it. What do you think Ondo will do this bull run? Greets from Holland. Not sure. Obviously not sure, but I think a couple X's will be easy. What is a good video or channel that explain the fib good? I'm trying to learn how to use it. I'm making a video on the Fibonacci's on my second channel pretty soon, if you want to just wait. I don't think Patty beats Ilya or Islam. So, how much coins on average do you need to hold to become wealthy or make a decent amount? That's very, very, very subjective, and there's not really one answer I can almost say at all to answer you, to be honest. How much do you have in cash at the moment, percentage? 24%. No. 23% of my entire net worth is in cash right now, but I am going to be we're buying a 41 plex out in Abilene, Texas. So that's going to drain like 30% of my cash or so. So in about a couple weeks I'll probably have 17% of my net worth in cash. Of my crypto portfolio, my cash allocated, I'm probably like 20% cash. Shout out Sonic. I do like Sonic as well. And the food restaurant. All your videos help me understand crypto more. Happy to hear it. Thanks, Clutch. How did you learn so much about TA and how to teach it? I learned technical analysis through watching an absolutely obsessive, weird, like kind of crazy ass amount of YouTube, really. I was spending day after day watching guys like Crypto Capital Venture, Elio Trades, this guy, Eric Crown. I was watching him a ton. I was watching Sheldon from Crypto Banter. I was watching, taking free classes, free courses, free guides, free masterclass. I mean, I was just learning everything I could. But the biggest thing that's taught me is, listen, I've done it every day. I've looked at a chart for crypto at least once a day, every single day for 6 years straight now, right? So you kind of just have to learn, right? You kind of just have to learn. When you think about that, that's almost as if I went to college for 4 years and did a 2 years graduate program after, right? So of course, after that, it's like, yeah, you kind of got to know, right? And then I teach it. I teach. I'm telling you guys about what I'm learning. So it forces me to learn even more. So crypto going down right now. I just talked about that a second ago. If Patty wins his next fight, Dana needs to give him his flowers, respect, and give him a shot at the belt. Completely agreed. Completely agreed. All right, my friends. Well, look, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I do plan on going live again before I'm leaving for Dubai. I'm going to be at Token. If any of you are going to Token 2049, do let me know. Would love to link up with you guys at the conference, so I don't do any of that little side stuff that's kind of weird, right? I don't want to get kidnapped. Which no one will get anything because I keep nothing on me. Anyway, I am going to be out in Dubai. So if any of you are there, if anyone of you want to meet up, shoot me an Instagram DM. I'm going to be at Token for a little bit, probably not much time, but I will be there. I'll be around. I'm going to leave here on Sunday, 17-hour flight coming up. So fuck, that's going to be a long time. So would love to meet any of you who are there. Would love to chit chat. Let me know. Outside of that, though, I do have videos planned on going out basically every day. I have a couple, maybe 1 or 2 more live streams until then. A ton of big stuff going on over in the school. So please don't forget, guys, that if you do find the information that I'm posting valuable and you want to learn even more, just head to the school. The school is where it's at. We're going to give you all the tools that you need to develop strategies to help you become a winning investor. And that's, again, someone who's confident and consistent. Feel free to go check that out. Don't forget to go check out CoinX if that is something that interests you. Sign up for FIMIX if you are interested in getting in on this campaign before it ends. And go get some free educational content. There's a 14-day masterclass. There's my YouTube channel, my second YouTube channel, all about education. And go message me on Instagram if you need anything. But, of course, I hope you guys did enjoy today's live stream. I love jumping on stream with you guys. And I can't wait to see you all in the next one.